I'm on a mission to help the world to see success differently. Through sharing the stories of our guests, I hope to inspire those that listen. This is the Different Hats podcast, produced by H2 Productions. I hope you can join us on this journey. As we're on that subject, I wanted to, I know you obviously, you champion apprenticeships and you're really keen to support, give people opportunities and create opportunities within the tech space, certainly for younger people. So talk to me a little bit about that, where that passion for and that comes from.
Yeah, where does that come from? That's easy to answer, actually. Yeah. So early in my career, I went to the Farnborough Air Show, actually. I had my boyfriend, who's now my husband, was a training commercial pilot. And I've always had an interest in aviation anyway. Okay. In fact, I used to go to Shoreham Airport when I was 16 and watch the planes take off. I was destined to work in a male-dominated environment. Yeah. But, and so I went to the Farnborough Air Show, and there happened to be a sort of a stand there, which was a setup of air traffic control. And I thought, wow, I'm an adrenaline junkie. It looks like this studio, actually. Maybe that's why I love the studio. But it's just full of tech and all these lights and switches, and it was really exciting. And I thought, wow, this looks amazing. And then I started to look into it as a potential career. And I went on to get an FISO, which is an assistant air traffic control qualification. And I worked at Kidlington Airport in Oxford in the weekends just to help me with my sort of learning. And I just loved it. And I had already fallen into the tech sector, but I did this as a sort of hobby. And I thought, wow, this would be an amazing career. Everyone I met was really passionate about it. So I basically applied to the CAA. However, I didn't actually get in. And I passed all the IQ tests, but they introduced a new one for telling you left from your right. But because I had planned to go and work in air traffic control, I sort of set off at 18. I was thinking, yeah, this is what I want to do. You don't need a degree to work in air traffic control, and so I basically followed this route, and so but then they said to me, your left, your right wasn't quite good enough, can you come back next year? And that's when I had to admit to myself, wow, this is people's lives. If you tell the plane to turn the direction that's sort of the wrong direction, then that's life or death. And so sure. It made me really sort of think about what did I want to do with my career. And I loved the sort of the energy that there is in tech. It's a very fast-paced environment. If you want a laid-back job, I definitely don't go into tech. But if you like a place where 5 o'clock comes very quickly, I encourage anyone to work in tech. You always have to be on your feet. There's so much to learn. And what I realized also about tech is that whatever they teach you in uni anyway will probably be out of date quickly. And it's the people skills that are really going to serve you well. And so, and many employers, I went on to work for IBM, many employers hugely invest in talent in the tech sector, because you do need to keep up to date with your qualifications and skills, and so much innovation in tech. And so I realized I didn't need to go to uni. And so but I also realised that, just because whether you don't have a degree or you do, it doesn't actually distinguish. And I've seen that in my business as well. And often, in fact, apprentices, I believe, actually can make even better hires than graduates, because the graduates can often feel entitled. I've met some business owners recently who would say, typically, many graduates they expect them to leave within 18 months of joining. So if you're making a huge investment for somebody, it's their first job, who isn't quite settled or doesn't know, it's a bit like trying to buy a house. If you just see the first house, you might go, well, I'm sure there's a better house. So it's good to see a few houses, and that's probably the mentality of these graduates. So what I found with a lot of the apprentices I've hired, they've tended to stay with me 3 years or more. So it's a better investment, you could say. And their skills coming into the business are identical, so I think that actually hiring apprentices is a great thing to do. And what employers need to do is to look at what are the careers that you could have in your business, and what's the starting rung in the ladder of that career, and is there an opportunity to take on somebody junior who has that energy and drive. And I think that in the coming years, there's going to be more and more kids out there who understand that there is alternatives to going to uni, and that and often even bright, like really bright kids who could have got into any uni they wanted to, realizing, well, do I really want 60 grand of debt? And I've got a 17-year-old, and he is so hungry to set up his own business. I don't know if he'd stick at uni for 3 years and then have all the debt. So I'm going to certainly be encouraging him to look at apprenticeships and sort of think about the skills that he wants to learn, and he can get a degree at the end of that, and that will serve him well. But I was very lucky. I went into I was sponsored by my employer to go to the Open University and do an MBA with them. And through that journey of working alongside most of the other kids actually didn't have an undergraduate degree either. But we all learnt from each other. And what I also learnt was about their experience in business and in different industries. And that's served me well, in addition to the amazing training that IBM gave me. Usually it was like how not to mess it up and be sued. But that, you know what, when you're running a business, actually, that sort of training is quite good, actually.
That helps.
Yeah, that's important. But also, I think for me, what I've learned is that, just working with these younger people, they're easy to mold as well. And it's immensely rewarding because I've been able to create new leadership roles and responsibilities for more senior experienced people, which is a great retention strategy too, because imagine if you're in that sort of stage of your career where you think, what next? Maybe it's about being a manager. Well, if you've got nobody coming in below you, then you won't have that sort of opportunity. And you learn a lot about yourself when you're trying to mentor or coach or lead somebody else. It can really help you externalize and make conscious what are the very things that you do that probably make you successful. And I think that's a really healthy process to go through. So if you haven't hired apprentices, then it's an amazing thing.
I think it's brilliant that you encourage. I'm really keen to just tap into, as you mentioned, about a little bit around sort of education, and because I never went to university, and my wife did. She wanted to be a solicitor, so she had that direction. That's what she wanted to do, and I think I'm similar. Like I've got twins. They're 7 now, so a while off going to university. But I think to myself, unless they actually come to me with, look, Dad, I want to be a solicitor, I want to be a professional, I've got to go in and get a degree in that, then there's so many other opportunities. And I think more employers that are encouraging apprenticeship come on board and learn, because there's so much more you can learn within the job as opposed to, and I'm not obviously bad-mouthing the education system because it's incredible. Of course, I love learning, and I obviously promote education, but I do think potentially the education system, the way it runs at the moment, is slightly broken, maybe in the sense that that's not everyone learns in that way. So we need to encourage things slightly, or look at things slightly differently. And I love the fact that you mentioned about your like your son thinking about, I want to run my own business, and which obviously inspired, I guess, by you and seeing you run your own, which must be, because I always say, I'd love it if they come to me with an idea. I want to maybe do this. I'd be more inclined to promote it, as tough as it can be running a business.
I'm just waiting. He's in his first year of sixth form at the minute, and I'm waiting for the moment he comes home from school going, Mom, I'm being forced to do my personal statement and apply to uni. And I'm like, what are you going to tell the teachers about that?
Sure.
And I think that most parents, often they expect the sort of, our society is set up that you're going to go to school, do well at your GCSEs, do well at your A-levels, go to uni, find a wife or a husband, settle down, get married, and repeat. And and I'm probably a bit disruptive in everything I do, and so I'm sure my husband probably wouldn't agree, and I know he won't be listening to this probably, but I would just encourage my kids to think about their happiness and their purpose in life, and you'll find yourself eventually, and if you don't know what you want to do early on, why force yourself to go into education early on? Because so many people do go to university later on in life when they realise what it is they need to and want to do. Go and have fun, go and travel, and go and work in a workplace where the culture is somewhere that you find exciting and interests you. Maybe their mission of what they're trying to do is aligned with what you're doing, and that's so much more important than I think than earning money, because if you can really prove that you're an asset to the business, you will get the promotions. Just take the most junior job there is in a company or in an industry, and I'm sure you'll fly. If you have the passion and power, which will definitely come across, there'll be no chance except to succeed really well, to smash it.
Yeah, I love that. And I think there's, again, what's interesting there is more about, and I wonder if, I do feel that the narrative's changing slightly, but that it's not so much about financial gain, it's more about purpose. What's my purpose in the world? What do I want to do? What do I want to achieve? On that sense, because it's still, in my opinion, it's still quite a strong narrative out there that success is based on financial gain, and I don't necessarily buy into that as much. I think that, you know, we're certainly as business owners, sometimes you go, oh, you're searching for this goal or this thing you're going to attain, but it's financial based, and that's not necessarily where success lies. It's more about what am I doing? Am I doing stuff on a daily basis that maybe makes it different, or I feel fulfilled? And that's got to be more important than
100%. My mum always told me, which as a young child, she said, "Don't worry. The difference between rich and poor people is rich people have more debt." So which is quite pleasing. But I live by something I've only recently, in recent years, come across, by the abundance theory. And if you're not aware of that, it's the opposite of scarcity theory. But abundance theory is really where you don't focus on money. It's about focusing on what you can have, and that just because somebody else has it doesn't mean you can't have it. In fact, they should be an inspiration for you. And I think it's a really healthy thing to more focus on your goals and your vision, and ensure that money isn't a part of that. And it's certainly how I live my life day to day, and focus on the day-to-day things that really matter. And often that's your sort of your health and your happiness. And the money will come, because frankly, no matter how much you make, it's never enough anyway. So your standards or your debts will always adjust. So it's really, I think it's much more important to focus on what is it that's important to you, and go out and achieve that, and surround yourself with people who have a belief in you and a positive energy, because there's nothing worse than somebody who's a sort of a drain on your battery.
Yeah, sure.
And so it's I think surrounding
mood hoovers, I call them. Mood
hoovers. Yeah, I've also heard another one was a mood shadow, and it's sometimes you just need to step back and recognise that that's actually happening in your life. But I've been very lucky. I have many people who've believed in me at my time at IBM, and other mentors around me, including my brother. And it's so important to have people around you in the workplace and in your family and social life who are very encouraging of your sometimes what might feel crazy ideas of, like, one day I'd like to settle down and do this, or whatever it is. It's not crazy. Live your dreams.